The Nintendo 3DS, the family-friendly handheld that had millions captivated with its unique technology and library of games. Mario, the Zelda remakes, Pokemon even? That's great and all, but did you think about the game where someone swallows a pair of scissors? You think Reggie ever played this? I hope he did. Horror on the 3DS is a surprisingly large genre. Well, not actually large, but large enough to where there's more than one game.
7?
For example, the RPG Maker horror game Corpse Party had a 3DS port back in 2016 that for a while there was actually the definitive port of the game. It's also where the aforementioned scissor swallowing shenanigans arose from, so yeah, good old 3DS family fun. There was a Resident Evil game, the space survival game Starship Damery, Mario Party the Top 100. However, there's not many horror games that take advantage of being on the 3DS, they're just sort of on the console. Everybody knows that the 3DS had all sorts of gimmicks, the 3D, AR cards, and of course the camera. And there's one game out there that integrates all of these gimmicks into horror kind of well. Instead of telling you what the game's about, I may as well just show you. Spirit Camera: The Cursed Memoir was an augmented reality horror game that was a spin-off of the popular Fatal Frame series. It's a series where this girl has a camera and she takes pictures, but it's like of evil things. Anyways, this horror game is super unique in that it uses the camera of the 3DS to its advantage, not only to make the game take place in your room, but it uses the technology of the AR cards to enhance the experience even further. It's actually a pretty cool idea for a 3DS horror game. It's a shame I don't know anybody who's very well versed with the 3DS to help me talk about this. So instead, here's this guy named That Guy Who Games who paid me $10 to talk about the game with me. Take it away.
Hey everyone, just to be clear, I did not pay this guy $10 to be in this video. I paid him 20.
Like Bup had mentioned, Spirit Camera uses the camera of the 3DS to make this haunted experience take place around you. It's a great concept, especially for a horror game. Seeing ghosts in your room? Brilliant. I'll hand this to my 5-year-old niece and tell her it's real. 10 out of 10. Amazing game. Would play again. Though it's not a perfect concept, and the game does do some other things that are annoying despite the really cool ideas that it has, but we'll get to all that in due time. Was this game too gimmicky? Was the technology even good enough at the time to properly execute this idea? Let's find out as we dive into Spirit Camera on the 3DS.
So before we begin, not only do I not have a way to capture 3DS stuff, I don't even have a 3DS. I have a 2DS and he's sound asleep hours away from my dorm. And because of the camera and motion controls, I can't exactly play this with other means, so get used to this mug for a while. Opening up the game, you gotta get a few things set up to play. Remember earlier how I mentioned those AR cards? Well, this game's main gimmick isn't using an AR card, but an AR book. Included with the game is a little booklet that you use throughout the entire game. The pages come to life in this absolutely horrifying and dreadful experience. Almost as horrifying as buying this game pre-owned. Yeah, if you just didn't have this book back in the day, you just straight up couldn't play it. Thankfully, the book has been archived for this exact reason, but if you bought it loose at a GameStop or something, you were f***ed. There's 3 different game modes to choose from here. The main one, and really the only important one, is Fatal Frame: The Diary of Faces. We can briefly touch on the other game modes at the end, but trust me, you aren't missing much. Boot up the story mode and calibrate just a few more trinkets and doodads before you can get started. This also includes scanning your face. Look at that handsome young man right there. Surely the game won't use his face for any devious scares. Oh, the game didn't take his face away or anything, he just does that sometimes.
After you're all done setting things up, the opening 3D cutscene plays. A narrator talks about the fabled Diary of Faces, a book that supposedly snatches up the faces of those who dare to read it. You're told not to look or else you'll be next. It's all just a big old prank though. I love that classic joke, you know, when unmarked package with an evil diary gets sent to your house. I pulled that one on my neighbor's kid a few years back. He was so pranked I haven't heard from him since. Anyways, along with the diary, a package comes with a scrap of paper telling you to use the camera obscura to uncover the diary's secrets. The camera obscura is the representation of your 3DS's camera, and also something that's in other Fatal Frame games. There are also different lenses you can get for this camera, but we'll get to those when we get to those. Stop being impatient! There's not really a whole lot to say about it. If you played AR games, which I made a video about, you should check it out, then you know what's up. After messing around with the camera for a bit, you see a vision of a blank page on one of your images.
In this case, it was dying Markiplier. Rest in peace.
The faded cursed text appears and sucks you into the diary through a wormhole.
This segment of the game is fairly different from the rest of it, having you explore this haunted 3D environment rather than whatever your surroundings are. Confused and wandering around, you come across this woman who disappears quickly. You get hit with, I think, a jump scare. I'm not really sure what this is, I can't tell. Well, it's a good thing I'll never have to see her again. Say, who's that? This is Maya. She's one of the main characters of the game that'll be helping you. She's also the first one to bring up the person behind the diary and the one who's stealing faces, the woman in black. Before you two can come up with an elaborate scheme to drop a cartoon anvil on the woman in black, you hear a strange noise beckoning you from the diary. This is a pretty good example of that AR book not looking the best. It's cool technology, don't get me wrong, especially for the year it came out in, but it's pretty janky most of the time. And now he's disappeared while I was talking. Great. I guess the game really is broken. Ah! This is a spirit, and they're the main obstacle you're gonna face throughout the game. Instead of me talking about how the gameplay works, let's let the person who actually had their hands on the game start us off.
I will say, if there's one thing I love more than janky motion controls, it's janky motion controls while being tethered to my PC.
You gotta whip around like a 5-year-old on crack. Sorry, coffee. Because that's what I drank as a 5-year-old. You need to keep the ghost centered on your lens. The more they stay in the center, the more the spirit orbs get charged up. You snap pictures to deal damage to the spirits, but it's only good to do so when they're about to attack, because then they won't hit you. It's not hard in theory, but capturing 3DS footage means having a wire tethered to your box of a computer, and when the ghost moves all around, you really have to compromise your movements in order to do anything. At the time, I was just relying on my capture window and just rotated the DS around in the same spot.
After brutalizing the ever-loving hell out of this ghost, like Jesus, that's a lot of stat boosts, the spirit you were fighting named Kaido is captured and dealt with. The spirits you encounter throughout the game are all mostly victims of the diary, having their faces and lives taken away. I'll try to be brief about the spirits and their stories, but with Kaido, it revolved around him and his sister. He was all like, "You have a haunted diary? Nuh-uh," and then both him and his sister were killed. Lovely. Now, what exactly does this have to do with my character? I really don't care. Alright, there's a chance this has something to do with me now. After being turned into an actual creepypasta character, it's revealed that you have also been cursed by the diary, like all the spirits you've met so far. With this issue on your hands and Maya's issue on her hands, you guys decide to team up and conquer the woman in black to defeat her once and for all. Oh yeah, Maya just straight up can't remember who she is or where she's from. A bit of an issue, I know. From here on out, the game is just a little formulaic. You investigate a page of the diary, play a little mini-game or solve a puzzle, and then battle the spirit. I'll briefly explain each spirit and their various parts in the game, and by me, I mean me and Tom here. I don't want him to waste the $30 he gave me, you know?
Bob, come on, man. I told him it was 20.
After the encounter with Kaito, you are faced with this ghost child who wants to play hide and seek. Get used to this kid. He's here for a while. You gotta flip through the pages of the diary, find the child, rinse and repeat for how many times I don't remember, and your prize for winning is a brooch with a picture of Maya inside. Why did he have this? I guess we'll have to hunt him down until we know. Don't let him escape. No mercy. Maya helps you track him down, and you have to attack with your camera once again. This time with Maya telling you where he is. He gets a little mischievous again and makes you play another mini-game. This time these masks come to life in the diary and force you to follow their eyes. It's not too bad, just follow where the eyes go and select that one. Eventually, the shenanigans with the kid end, but sadly, instead of the child leading you to the lady in black, we led her to the child, who then proceeds to steal his face. He thought that mask would protect him, but little did he know that the woman in black was an anti-masker. That's how you know she's truly evil, come on. I also lied, by the way, you gotta fight the kid one more time. I told you, he's in a lot of this game. The imagery of the kid losing his face is actually kind of disturbing. You see him struggling as he thought of the lady in black as an older sibling figure. His message afterwards shows that he gives up on that idea and is pretty broken up about it. But who cares? I got a new lens for my camera. It lets me see past any dark spots in the book, so if something is concealed in darkness, I can remove it and see what is there with the lens. I wish I had this in real life so I can see what's in the dark corner of my room. It scares me.
Next up on the spirit board is this doll-like girl. She's very reminiscent of your typical ghost girl. Nothing too unique about this. Except for the fact that she thinks she's a doll or something. It's all the woman in black's fault that she thinks she's a doll in the first place. But I don't know what the answer is, man. I just take pictures, don't ask me. Turns out that through some sheet music, you find out that this girl was Kaito's sister, the first spirit you encountered. Maya thought that it might have been her sister at first, but nah, she's not. Oh, boo-hoo, I don't have a family. Ever heard of a little show called Family Guy, buddy? Take one look at those kooky, wacky individuals. You won't want a family at all.
What the fuck?
This scene is actually pretty important because it drops the lore that the woman in black is actually after Maya. Everything and everyone else was just a pawn to get at Maya, and nothing will get in her way. Except your little brother's VTech camera, of course. Not only do we learn that, but we learn a little bit more about Maya, and by a little bit, I mean her entire backstory. It turns out that Maya was supposed to be this sacrifice for a ritual, where they separate a maiden from society, sew up all of her face holes, and then capture a spirit within her. When Maya was all alone and isolated, she accidentally created and bonded with another Maya so that she could cope with the loneliness. When it was time for the ritual, because she had bonded with this evil Maya, hilarity ensued, and Maya and the evil Maya just kinda became all ghosty and haunted. The evil Maya turned into the woman in black and was trapped in the darkness to rot.
Yeah, that's great and all, but I don't really feel much empathy for Maya. I need to see something really sad for that to happen. That's a tearjerker.
After telling Maya that wanting to have a family was completely her fault and wrong of her, I mean, come on, who wants that?
What the fuck?
It's time to move into the end game of Spirit Camera. And let me tell you firsthand, I never want to take a fucking picture again after this. Maya wants you to save the other Maya, as it's partly her fault she's trapped in the darkness in the first place. Evil Maya then merges with the regular Maya and tries to stop you, as you need to snap one last picture to win the game. At least I wish it was one last picture. Holy crap, that would have been better. There are 3 phases to this boss fight: regular Maya, Evil Maya, and then the 2 combined. Maya is a breeze, just shoot her right in her pretty pale face. With the camera, that is.
Oh no.
Just snap her picture once or twice when she tries to attack you and you're good to go. Evil Maya, also pretty easy. A little bit more sinister and goofy, but if you get her very limited attack pattern down, you got it in the bag. Phase 3 is the one that makes me want to eat a comically large AR card.
I'll even do it too, don't test me!
The timing for taking these pictures is so tight. You gotta be fast about not only finding where Maya is at, but squeezing into that little opening window where you can actually do damage. That, coupled with the fact that I was still tethered to my computer, made finding and countering insanely annoying. It took me about half an hour of fending off Maya and Maya before I was finally able to deal the final blow. After Evil Maya is defeated, the other Maya stays to confront her as they both disappear together, free from the curse of the diary. What a heartwarming ending.
Enough of that shit, though. We gotta talk about minigames, baby! So, the story might be wrapped up, but the content isn't, sort of. Outside of the main story, you've got haunted visions and cursed pages. Cursed pages basically just let you replay certain segments of the story, like that one eye-moving minigame. Haunted visions, on the other hand, let you mess around with the camera some more, capturing some absolutely spine-chilling images. Oh no, Markiplier, look behind you! It's really nothing but a silly little tool that'll let you throw ghosts and ghouls into the pictures you take. Within Haunted Visions is also Spirit Challenge, which is sorta cool. It's like Face Raiders, where you take a picture of someone, but then you have to battle them. They even give you stats based on the picture you take. I didn't know Markiplier was that powerful. Oh, who am I kidding? Of course I knew that. And that's all Spirit Camera has to offer. It's a short playthrough, only taking a few hours to get through everything, but it's definitely a neat experience. It's real gimmicky and not perfectly functional, but I think this game works as a good concept of a horror game in AR. It's not really scary. I mean, playing a horror game that needs to be played in the brightest setting known to mankind is not a good idea, but I mean, the idea could be scary if done right. Seeing Mr. Scary Pants Jr. in the corner of my room at 4 AM on my phone could be scary if an AR horror game was made properly.
The gameplay was fine. Nothing outstanding, but nothing that really bored me either. Like I mentioned earlier, timing the shots was a bitch at times, but the overall fight sections didn't overstay their welcome and helped build the atmosphere and story really well. Speaking of the story, it was alright. I called that twist from a mile away, and looking back, I'm glad the kid's face got eaten off. I hate children. What else can I say? For a horror game on the 3DS back in 2012, it wasn't too bad, and thanks again for Topup for having me on. Over on my channel, we did a video talking about official Nintendo-published horror games, so go check it out if you're interested. If you don't, that's fine. I won't cry. They just won't be able to find your body.
I'm glad you enjoyed the game. I think I have an irrational fear of cameras now, though.
Oh, don't be silly. Here, let me take your picture.
No, wait!